We have with us Dr. Omshree Shetty, a distinguished scientific officer at Tata Memorial Hospital specializing in molecular diagnostics and translational medicine, holds a PhD in retinoblastoma from TMH. With a remarkable career spanning over a decade in the field of oncology, her expertise extends beyond the boundaries of oncology to include proteomics, cell biology, microbiology, and more. Dr. Shetty is a prolific author with numerous publications in both national and international journals, a testament to her significant contribution to the scientific community. Her illustrious career is adorned with multiple accolades reflecting her outstanding achievement. Known for her eloquence and proactive approach, Dr. Omshree stands as a captivating orator and a true go getter in the realms of medical sciences. Welcome, Dr. Omshree, to our talk show, Geniecasts. With an extensive portfolio comprising hundreds of publications within the field of oncology, you have wholeheartedly dedicated your career in advancing oncology research. It has been over a decade since you are in the field. Please share your career journey from a PhD scholar to a scientific officer at TMH, the leading cancer research hospitals in India.
Thank you very much, Srishti, for having me over here. It's my pleasure. And I think through this interview, if I can communicate a little bit of some knowledge, I mean, that would be really helpful to the budding scientists and people who want to pursue their career in STEM. Well, like all aspirants, I too had a dream. And I was like, when I was doing my master's, I'm like, this has to culminate into PhD and there's no looking back. And so that's how I got into TMH for my PhD. And I was into applied biology, and where I worked upon the role of human papillomaviruses in the etiopathogenesis of retinoblastoma. So PhD is a journey which kind of transforms you from, like, and at least for me, it had been a transformation from being a very strong-headed individual to an individual who can take it all. It's like there is a Japanese proverb that says ukemato. So it's like just accept whether it is good or bad or nothing is happening in your way. Just accept it and just take it with the gratitude that is arigato. So, that's how it had been. So it's like and being a girl, and it's almost like maybe from a kind of family background where I was coming in. Also, there is a pressure of getting married and having your biological life cycle going on, and so it was everything. So it's like PhD and marriage and then childbearing, and then with that the thesis completion and everything. So I must say that you need to be grateful to the surroundings what helped you, and to have a mindset just to stay calm no matter what is happening. You just need to go with the flow. Your experiments might not work, your results might not be the ideal one, and then your research supervisor might say, no, this is not working, I can check this off. Then one fine day you might get a surprise saying that the whole project can be shelved off. So it brings up a lot of surprises, and that too, the PhD guide with whom I got registered had to leave the country. And then finally, Dr. Sangeeta Desai came to my rescue, who's been my mentor, and she's still my mentor till date. And I'm really lucky to have. So I think when you are passionate about certain things and you are pursuing it, I guess you also get guided by the inner strength and also by the energies. I mean, I believe in that. So, and the focus should not be shifted at all. It's like, I used to always tell my friend, like, we both were two PhD students under the same guide. We're like, you know what, right now it appears like it's darkness, but I'm pretty sure there is light at the end of this tunnel. So we will get through this. And from there, it had been like, once I finished my PhD, I was like, okay, let me take a break. I mean, it had been a like exhausting journey. You kind of finished your thesis, writing on your papers. Then I thought, like, I was in a stage where I was deciding. So that's when I looked into this stem cell treatment. So that's where I got drawn towards it. And I worked with Dr. Alok Sharma for a while for neuroregenerative rehabilitative therapy. But then I realized, like, I need to go ahead. It was like a commercial thing. So I again came back to an institute. So that was where National Institute of Research in Reproductive Health happened. And then again, I tried to pursue my passion in stem cells. So I was working on spermatogonial stem cells. That was a very enriching environment. Like Tata Memorial Hospital has its own buzz. Like, it's with patient care. You're all the while driven towards your patients, and you're doing your research, which will be translating into the patient care and services. Whereas NIRRH had a different approach of grooming you as a scientist, as a thinker, where you're made like on Thursday afternoon 3 o'clock, every PI would ensure that each and every student has to attend that Thursday afternoon meetings. And it used to be a joy where all the PhD students, the postdocs, and fellows are all sitting, and the debates. And it was a very, very enriching environment where you actually grow in terms of your thinking capabilities, your analytical interpretations, like, what the other person is presenting. So that was wonderful 3 years again as a postdoc. And then I realized, what, I'm missing something. It's very good, but something is really missing. So every time I used to look at TMH, I said, I think this is the place where I belong to. And then that's it. I came back to TMH, to the same lab where I'd done my PhD, and then there is no looking back. And my mentor, who had been, and she's still my mentor, and I also had like really strong women in my life who helped me shape up my career. And it had been the woman who had been always leading the way, showing the way, like Dr. Tanuja. She's been my mentor. She's still my mentor. So really blessed to have them. And also my colleagues, like, Dr. Tripti, Mamta. So we are all like working as a team, supporting each other. When one is going down, we are kind of pulling it up. And when we feel that other one is not doing enough, again, we are kind of there to pump at each other and we need to do this. So it's really nice to have such an enriched
In the
ecosystem.
field, while we are working, a woman helping another woman, their co-workers, their colleagues, it does add a lot of support system. The support system is really important to, to carry on with the obstacles that might that might come in the way. But your PhD journey was quite enriching, like filled with a lot of ups and downs, but still you
Yes.
came through it like a rising star. So that's great.
No, it's like, you've been put through, I think each one of us, whoever is pursuing PhD, so we used to have all our internal PhD jokes. Like I still remember one of my senior, one fine day she shows up and she's like with just chopped hair. She had a long hair. I'm like, what
Okay.
happened? Why did you cut your hair? Like, you know what? That was the only thing which was in my control and I just chopped it. So, so I think everyone goes through this and that transformation is needed.
Okay, so like you mentioned, like after your master's, you wanted to pursue a PhD. You wanted to pursue academia, but I think like every other master student, we are at a crossroads.
Yeah.
Whether we
Yeah.
want to go into industry, whether we want to
Yes.
go into academia, and most of the people, most of the students, do not go into academia, do not go into PhD because it is tough, like you said. It tests your patience at every step. At every level, it tests your patience. So, what really inspired you to still go ahead with PhD and then postdoc?
I was pretty clear that, like if I am right from the beginning. So it was my dream that if I'm taking up science, I mean, if I'm doing bachelor's, it has to culminate into PhD. I'm not stopping anywhere in between. That was very, very clear. So right from day one, it was like this has to end in PhD and nothing else. So that was the whole idea. But of course, there are others have like I have a colleague and a good friend of mine. So she has done her MSc. She was working as a research fellow for quite some time. Then she joined on a permanent job, and now she's thinking of pursuing her PhD. And sometimes, it's the things can turn different ways. And there had been a student of ours, a research fellow, who came to us, who was working on a project, and she was like. I want to do my PhD and I want to do it abroad, but unfortunately it was the COVID times and she went on, sending multiples, hundreds and hundreds of applications, and we kept on giving her reviews. but nothing helped. But in the interim period, a job came up, so a permanent job in a government institute. So, we said, what, if this comes, then probably your PhD journey might end. So she said, okay, now job is a priority. I waited for good 3-4 years. So she took up the job. But then eventually there is a PhD program in TMH. So we said, so she has enrolled in that. So now she's pursuing a PhD. So if you're fixed in your mind, you can go. I mean, like for me, and also for many people, it could be the financial constraints. They need to be there and they need to earn for the family. So fortunately, that was not the case for me. For me, I could pursue my academia. So I knew that this is what I have to do. So it could be different choices or different circumstances, what would be there for everyone, and then they can choose what they wish to do.
Correct. Like there is no fixed path in this field.
There's no
I
fixed
think,
path. So
yeah,
you never know when it is your calling. You really never know.
correct. Correct. There are many permutation and combinations which can work out.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That is
So
true.
we have seen stories where people come with a very fixed mind, like, I want to do my PhD abroad. I want to do it in UK, US, Australia, and they get it and they go ahead. There have been instances where they take another route. There have been some people where they go, they work there, they realize it's not working, they come back again, or they just, it's
It's
just diverge.
just how things work out at the end of
Yeah.
the whole journey. But
Yes.
I think you have always been a go-getter. That means from the start you were like, okay, I want to pursue PhD, and there is nothing that I want to, there's nothing that can change my mind.
Yeah,
So
so as you mentioned, I was at a crossroad. It's like I applied in ICT. I mean, now it is ICT. Earlier it was known as UDCT, University Department of Chemical Technology. So after my master's, I was like a visiting faculty for Mumbai University for 6 months for teaching the master students. Then I got a project there. So I thought, wow, it's one of the best institutes in the world. So in food and fermentation technology. So I went there and it was a project, so I thought eventually I might apply here for PhD. Then I was applying for TIFR. I was applying at multiple places. So I had always been at crossroads whenever certain things are coming up, be it a job, be it a project, be it a something. So when I was in ICT, so then I cleared TIFR and TMH both, and then I got into TMH for a PhD project. Again, there were two options, and they're like, no, I'll go with this particular project, which is good. And then again, there was a dilemma, should I leave ICT or should I just go to TMH? Because for me, everything was same at that time. I was like, okay, I need my PhD. But so then with a lot of permutation combination, I said, no, this is something more fascinating. It's molecular, genetics. So let me get into this. So that's how I kind of diverted
that
to TMH. Yes.
many people, when they are at a crossroad, it is very difficult for them to choose between the two.
Yes.
And there is
Yes.
always a regret. Sometimes there is a regret, sometimes there isn't. But I think you are like now you are content. I,
Yeah,
you are
absolutely.
content with whatever choices you made in the past. You're absolutely
Yes.
content, and which is what matters at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But so this was your career journey. But like a woman's life is not limited and restricted to just the career. There are other aspects. There are other areas as well. And you are a mother. You
Mhm.
you balance your personal life and professional life. So looking everything, like considering everything, what was the turning point in your life, like where you were at a crossroad again, but the options were not just limited to your career, like there was family also involved. Were there any instances like that?
Oh, yes. Oh, my God. That though, you have so many times you're kind of sandwiched. You are like, you have so many guilt trips and you are like, oh my God, what am I doing? Is this the right thing to do? I mean, just before my Viva, I mean, I was in the hospital just because you're really working on your work and you want to get it completed and, working with the boss, working on publications and everything. So I had been like working late. Probably I must have been reaching home at like 9 something. So my son was only 2 years old and then that day at 8:30, I get a call in the hospital, like, just rush home immediately. So, and it's just 2 days for my Viva, for my PhD Viva. And then when I go home, like he has fell down and he has cut his eyebrow, and it's a pool of blood, and you have to just hold him and then rush to the doctor. And thankfully, it got settled down. But I do have a very good family support system also. But it was like August. And then again, the blessing, I would say, thank God it happened today, not on the day of Viva. At least I had 2 days to, balance it out. And then I must say that even the 2-year-old kid also supported me a lot. I mean, like, he would understand. I mean, he would, I'll be on my laptop and I would say, Mama is working. Once Mama will be free, I'll give you my laptop. He's like, okay, Mama is studying. And he would just go. So those have been the instances. But thankfully, again, I said, like, a lot of women had helped me. So it's my mother-in-law. She was like a rock solid support, always managing the home front. Is like, go ahead, I'm there to take care of it. So you continue with your Viva, and, like, you do it. So I could trust my kid with her. And then many, many instances when you're like at work and then you suddenly get a call, and then, oh, this one is like severely ill, or my daughter, the younger one, has like a lot of allergic instances. So I had a talk the other day, and I was attending my talk and my phone was on silent. It went on ringing. I completed my talk. I came down. Then I realized that she's got a severe allergy attack. So I was getting a call from school. So then I had to just drop it there and then rush to school, pick her up, take her to the pediatrician, show what's been happening. I think it's all of us deal with it, and it's all about just striking a balance. And eventually, my kids started looking out for each other. So if I'm
Yeah.
traveling to US, I just need to tell the elder one, you know what, look after the younger one, and then you need to watch out for each other. And they would do it. So then my son would threaten me, see, if you're saying this, then I won't manage her studies. I won't look into her things. And yes, the family is there as so without all these support systems, it's quite challenging. I mean, I've been blessed and lucky to have a good ecosystem where everyone kind of supported each other, and like, you need to also to be understanding to their demands, because there have been instances when my in-laws have not been well, or they've been hospitalized, or like, so then there's nobody, so you cannot be going to work because you need to manage them at home. So those times you need to take a backseat. But thankfully, again, the very well structured ecosystem that we have, where everyone is so very understanding, so you can help it out. So it has always been the case. Like, I'm traveling to US, the child would fall sick, or I'm there, and then they'll have to visit the doctor, something or the other. So, but then you have to strike a balance and move on.
Yeah. But it is lucky actually that you have built that ecosystem in your family and in your workplace, which
Yeah.
has you know which has never overburdened you with a lot of responsibilities. I know there are responsibilities, but it has helped you in striking that balance, which,
Yes.
like you said, it is very important. Coming back, with over a decade's experience, were there any moments that made you feel like an outsider, like being a woman, and which made you feel like an outsider in the field?
Um, in the hospital, yes, as a research scientist, I always feel that, we are kind of given, uh, we are kind of treated a little bit different than there's a gap between the medico and the scientist is always there. Of course, thankfully, again, in the department, that's not the case, because recently, with the whole thing about the reports with the scientific person signature would not be considered as valid. I mean, there's still been a lot of things that's going on, and there are quite a lot of battles, the CE amendments, and lot many things are going on. So we have felt like the whole scientific fraternity, like those who of us are in medical diagnostics, in molecular diagnostics, who are signing out reports, have felt. But again, coming to Dr. Sangeeta Desai, like, she's been my mentor and who is heading our department. So she was the one, she always said that like molecular diagnostic report is like always a marriage between a pathologist and a scientist. I mean, both has to exist hand in hand. It cannot just go without that. So she stood by me, or she stood by us, and she said the reports will go with both of us co-signing. But still, yes, I do feel there are quite a level of glass ceilings, and which still need to be, broken, and which still need to be, moved ahead. And not only as a woman, I mean, as a woman, of course, yes, there are quite a bit of challenges as well. Yeah.
With your diversified expertise in the field, how has the field of oncology evolved?
Oh, I mean, that has evolved from leaps and bounds. I can tell you the example of our own laboratory, because in 2013, I mean, when we started the lab, when I joined there as a scientific officer, we were offering only single gene testing. And of course, NGS had come into the foray at that time, but then we did not have that resources or the infrastructure for that. So we were doing that single gene testing, fish test or a PCR or a real-time PCR, to cut to today's age where we are talking about clinical exome, we are talking about comprehensive genome profiling, we are talking about 1,000 gene, 500 gene, limited panel, the HRD scores. So it has evolved by leaps and bounds. Yes. And it has transitioned into different aspects, like, in solid tumors. Again, in solid tumors, if you look into central nervous system classification, WHO, it's completely based on molecular stratification. So is like sarcomas, and lung is like the poster child for NGS, with so many biomarkers. And now pancreatic cancer, colorectal cancer, so many things, they have all evolved a lot with the help of molecular diagnostics.
Complete awe of your journey in the field of academia. So, for our viewers, what advice do you have for young minds who want to pursue their career in STEM and academia in particular?
Again, I would say it's patience and perseverance. Those two things would take you a long way. There might be many setbacks. You might feel that this is not happening. You might be applying to a specific institute or a university, and then which might not be taking up your application. So it's okay. So, it's not that bad doing PhD in India as well. I mean, for those who wish to pursue it abroad, but again, to people who are pursuing their PhD in India as well, I mean, I've seen people who, if they don't like their subject or the project, they quit and then they go on. So it's okay. In the interim period, you might lose a year or so, but you still have now. And nowadays, especially, the world has opened up so much. We are no longer restricted to a country or a region or a part, thanks to this kind of global networking platforms available. So, you can be any part of the country and you can still pursue what you want to do. Of course, for the wet lab work, we need to be sure that, which are the good reputed institutes where you can really soil your hands and work. But yes, it's not something like, with the thing you would get everything. No, it would need a lot of patience, and you need to be at it, and one day you will reach there. And at the same time, you need to be accepting for whatever that is coming in your way, and you need to be open to the new ideas, open to the new challenges, and just find a way to maneuver through those, and that's how things would click to you. I would say, if STEM is your passion, do something that is with utmost passion. So, like, for us also, like when we were students, we had mentors like Dr. Tanuja. She still tells us, what are you doing? Where are your papers? What are you doing? Where are your projects? Why are you not getting funding? So that kind of, no, I still need to be on my toes. And, so probably that's the legacy which we've got, and that's what we would want to pass on, So we would want each and every person in the lab to be equally motivated. We keep telling our students, or, research fellows or scientific officers, come on, go for this workshop or conference or present, or, do a journal club, write a paper, write a review. That's how you can fine tune your writing skills, your research acumen. So the same message goes to the youngsters. Okay, if you don't get into a specific institute, at least apply for an observership, go for an internship, just get acquainted with those, good 3-4 institutes which you feel are good enough. Once you get a hang of it, just see what are the other opportunities that you can explore. You might realize that that is not something what you want to do it at all. You might be interested in something else, or even, visiting those centers or meeting the people over there might open up avenues. So we have taken a student who came as an intern, and we really found her to be so good. And she was with us, and now she's gone somewhere else and she's pursuing her PhD. But it does give a lot of opportunities like that.
I think growth never comes in silos. Like,
No,
there is a teamwork, you have to build a
absolutely.
team, and then only everybody can grow, which actually
Yes,
what matters at the end of the day. So,
yes.
It was great talking to you, Dr. Omshree. It was
Thank you so much.